came down today.
Right? It's like it just.
It feels like it came out of nowhere.
But I mean, we are prepared, guys. Ne?
Yes, we are.
I hope we are prepared
We
because
are.
if you are on Facebook, I've got layers and layers and layers, and then I've got this huge scarf that is happening here. But yeah, you know what? We are here, guys. As long as we are warm. I just shared my father a little journey
Sounds
there.
like quite the story.
It is a story that most people, I thought they didn't relate, but they did, you know. And it's so important to do storytelling, and that's exactly what we are going to be doing today with your story. And I don't want anyone to miss anything that you have to share with us today. I'm glad you are here.
Yeah.
So Mr. Brand, guys, a devoted child of God. He is a follower of Jesus since 2005, a husband and a best friend to Jill Brand for 15 years. I'm sure this is 16.
This is 15, but together for about 19, 20.
I
Although I might get into trouble with that one.
Okay, rewind a little bit. Let's just stick to 15 years
15
of
years,
marriage.
yeah.
They've got two beautiful boys, Noah and Ethan. One is 9 and one is 6. Have a whole entire career in investment businesses, and he's, acquired so many accolades along the way, which you'll be sharing here and then, So yeah, we really enjoy having you here because it's not your first time.
Yeah.
It's not your first time. So I love having you here because you
Thank
share
you,
the
sir.
honesty of who you are and what you carry.
I try.
We can only but try. So in his quiet time, he loves to read, I believe 3 to 4 books at a time. How do you do it? Oh my word, that's a lot. But yeah, bookworms are like that. And he enjoys a little bit of sports, especially football and baseball and motor racing. Which man doesn't like the
We like to go fast.
And of course, he enjoys a little bit cooking here and there. Last time I said you must invite me. I'm still waiting. Jill, please, let's make it happen. Okay. So, Ty, take us through your journey.
Yeah.
How did you grow up? Especially when we are talking, you are the first one to enter in the Father's Corner.
Wow.
This month is the Father's Corner. And I mean, in research, there's about 60% of South African families that, children are not raised by their fathers.
Yeah,
that's a very scary thought.
It's a sad statistic.
I just want you to get us in there, your relationship with your dad when you grew up.
Musa, I actually grew up really well. For most of my early childhood, sort of those formative years, I had a really good relationship with my dad.
That's
and
amazing.
He was an amazing provider. He made sure that we had good experiences when we were growing up. We went camping a lot.
Sure.
He loved fishing, so that was something that we did a lot of.
That's amazing.
But something
Do you still do that though?
I don't actually. I think it is something that I've been trying to get my kids into. But
When the time is
it
right.
takes patience to sit and fish. They don't bite in 2 minutes, then they're in the water swimming rather. So.
Now you all feel how Peter felt.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. But things got a little bit rocky as I got older.
Yeah.
The one thing that I remember actually just reading, you said I was a bookworm and I read this, and my father and I had a very, very rocky relationship through my teen years and my 20s. And I think he didn't have the tools actually to be able to, I think, engage me as a father at that age. And it was challenging because I was also a very challenging teenager and a very challenging early 20s
Who isn't,
person.
eh?
And I didn't know the Lord as well. So
Sure.
we weren't a family that necessarily grew up. We grew up in a church, but we weren't necessarily, our hearts weren't surrendered to the Lord, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So my father and I didn't really have the tools to relate to one another, and it made things quite challenging during that period. And I would go so far as to say that for a long time, I probably carried a bit of a wound from my father. And then when I got saved, the most amazing thing happened was that I started to realize that my dad was as much in need of Christ as I needed.
Sure.
And I think the amazing thing was that over time, the Lord began to heal my heart towards my father. And I started looking at him through the eyes of Christ, and I realized that you can't expect a man with a broken leg to run a marathon.
Yeah.
And it gave me tremendous compassion to him. And to cut a very long story short, the Lord gave me the privilege of leading him to salvation one evening. And through a process, the Lord really just restored our relationship. And
Sure.
I think he's gone to be with the Lord in 2020, but I think, he was one of my favorite people in the world to just be around. He was an amazing father, especially after he got saved,
Yeah.
and an amazing grandfather. And,
Come on.
when they talk about finishing your race well, he really did it.
That kind of story.
Yeah.
Sure, I love that. I love the fact that God is a God of chances. He was able to mend that relationship before,
Absolutely.
before everything happened. And we're so grateful for him for doing that. And I mean, the difference on how you were raised
Yeah.
and how you are raising your boys now.
Yeah.
What is that process looking like? Is it like, I always say to my husband when he says, no, and when we chat, we don't want to do certain things the way our parents did. There's a different way because we know better. We're not saying we are better or perfect, but there's a shift or element of a shift. How was that for you raising the boys and growing up?
So my boys are still, Noah's 10 now. He's just turned 10. Ethan is 6. So we still have a long road to walk. And I think that's something that we ask the Lord for a lot of grace for. We haven't entered those teenage years, those 20s, all of that. So I think everything I say, I can only say with 10 years experience.
Yes.
But we learn. We build the plane while we're flying it, I think. There's no handbook except
the Bible.
Maybe the Bible and what you've sort of learned. And I think it's very important that you realize that you grew up in a certain culture. And I'm not talking about necessarily, let's say, your traditional culture, but you grew up in a culture in a home.
Yeah.
And as parents, you actually have this amazing opportunity to set the culture of your home.
Yeah.
And so
set the culture of your home. You are given the tools. Hey.
Yeah. And I think what's wonderful is that I have a very loving wife that in many ways influences my thinking on certain things. And the two of us, we always seem to find some middle ground in terms of how we're going to do that. And we believe culture is very important.
Very.
And so we are very intentional. I think that's the other word that I think is important for people to take away from tonight is intentionality is everything as a father. Yeah. And setting the intention of, one day your sons are going to be husbands and fathers. And so I'm not raising sons, I'm raising fathers and husbands. And I think it's important that my approach is I want them to think like a father. I want them to think like a husband. And so even though they're at that age, it's simple things like how do you speak properly? How do you, what is your manners like? How do you conduct yourself? What does your diligence look like? All of these different character things. And we look for these opportunities to form character within them. And I think it's also important to know what your kids can handle and don't push them too much sometimes as well.
And repetition is so important because we do this once and then we change. It's no longer the same and the child is confused and okay, was I supposed to do that or not? But okay, I've got something for you because me and you have 15 minutes, but I don't want you to go without me having to do this to you.
My daddy told me this joke and I'm going to share it with you guys. So what do you call a spider with 10 eyes?
What?
Can you guess who that is?
I know that voice well. That is Ethan with that's his clutch joke right now, the spider joke. That's actually, what he had me in tears the first time I heard that.
My
great.
goodness.
He's such a good joke teller.
You've got amazing voice, but I want you to listen to this one as well.
My daddy is the best daddy because he always plays with me and he always be fair with me and my brother. And he works so hard for us that we can go out.
Also, you like food. He wants us to go out.
Daddy,
you must work so that we can go out.
You know what? He was driving the other day and he just said to Jill, Mommy, when are we going to a restaurant? We love restaurants.
Yeah.
Can we go to a restaurant? I'm
It's
like,
him that's actually laughing this restaurant story.
Restaurants.
But before we go into an ad and a song break, one more time, let's put Mr. Ty in a blush mode.
I love my dad because he's very funny with me. And I love my dad because he always teaches us about the Bible. And he does fun Bible trivia questions with me and my brother. And I also love my father because I can talk to him about anything. Like anything.
Oh,
So that's why I love my dad.
oh, baby. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Noah.
love you, boys. Love you, Noah. Love
Oh,
you, Ethan. Thanks
man.
for the messages, boys.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, and that's the reason why, we have this segment called the Father's Corner. It's not just to put you in the hot spot, to appreciate you and the work that you do. So many things happen, but today we just want to say thank you for the work that you have done. And then straight after the ad, we are going to be asking Ty just one more question. He must talk to us about the different P's. But let us enjoy a song and an ad.
Cape Town, stand up. Gospel Goes Classical is coming to your city on the 8th of June 2024 for the very first time at Grand Arena, featuring Lusana Beja, Colin Mangle.
Our lives are constantly bombarded with information. But how much of this information truly brings spiritual growth or encouragement? Cape Pulpit is a Christian radio station with a calling to spiritually equip you for the day of tomorrow, offering more than just sermons and testimonies. We explore the Word together, discuss current affairs, and focus on strengthening families. Tune in now across the Western Cape on 729 AM. That's AM or MW, not FM. Alternatively, visit our website or download our app to listen wherever you are. Cape Pulpit 729 AM, your daily companion.
There is radio and radio. And then there is Radio Cape Pulpit on 729 AM. Can you hear the difference?
Yebo, yes. Of course, you can feel the difference. This is 729 Cape Pulpit. Okay, if you are looking for this on the FM, it is 729 AM in your stereo, in your dial, whether you're in the car. But it's so good for you to actually download the app. So it is 729 or Cape Pulpit, Kapsa Council, and that is where it is at. So if you're not a Facebook person, we are on YouTube as well. So you can YouTube us. So hi guys, welcome to our channel. This is Grace upon Grace. You are chilled with Moose Fabulous and Mr. Ty Brand. and we are back. Mr. Ty, 2 questions that I have for you.
Sure.
And we close this one up. What do you enjoy most about being a father?
I have so much fun with my 2 boys.
I can tell the jokes that you.
Yeah. So the jokes are a big part of our household. We play a lot of games, but the jokes are probably like the number one thing.
That's
Yeah,
so
we're
cool.
always trying to one-up each other with jokes, and it's so entertaining. And I will go so far as to say that even though I've got friends my own age, and
Yeah.
I've got best friends in that, but they're like my best friends.
Come
actually.
on.
Honestly, I just have so much fun with them, and the things that come out of their mouths sometimes just
Yeah.
blows me away. So yeah, I
Sure.
think that's the best thing. It's like I've got 2 extra best friends. you
Come
know?
on.
Yeah.
Shame, Jill. But I'm not saying anything, but yeah, I think Mr. Ty gets a message. And I mean, one last thing, it's the Father's Corner, and
Yeah.
we are celebrating, cheering on fathers out there that are there for their kids, fathers out there, even uncles, grandparents as well, that are doing this and taking on the baton.
Absolutely.
Social fathers that are so important, because I am a product of a social father, and also being blessed with a father-in-law that took me in like my own, like his own. So I'm a product of that. Having a relationship with them, has been so good. Who are the 3? At least 3. I know that you've got a list.
Yeah.
Of men that have helped you in this journey, because we're sharing now the importance of having discipleship, a journey. So mention
absolutely,
those.
yeah. We were just talking about discipleship in while the song was on, and I think for me there are 3 men that have always stood out for me, and there's this wonderful monument in the States called Mount Rushmore, and it's like the faces of great presidents in the US. I've got a Mount Rushmore of 3 men, and my Mount Rushmore is first and foremost my father, my earthly father. And I think even though our road was rocky at certain points, the way that he started to bear the image of Christ as he was getting older. He was such an amazing provider, and he was one of those practical men. It's like if you needed something done or fixed, it's like he was there in like a blink of an eye with like a tool belt, and he could fix anything and kind
so
of
cool.
repair anything and build anything, And I've taken a lot of that on myself. And yeah, he's just unconditional love. The second one is Jill's dad, actually, who's also gone on to be with the Lord. But when I first got saved, he sort of maybe he was relieved that his daughter was interested in a guy that came to the Lord. But
Yes, hallelujah, Lord.
But he took me under his wing, and I'll never forget when I first gave my heart to the Lord. I was so confused about what had happened, because it was such a spiritual experience. And he just sat me down and he said, "Listen, start here. This is the Bible. This is the book of John. Read this thing. And then We're going to work through this together. And then I would sit with him in the evenings at their house, and I would have conversations with him about what I'm learning and what the Lord was kind of teaching me and stuff. And he was one of those men that was really kind of sowing into me. And the last one is the late Pastor Neville MacDonald, who was the founder of Good Hope Christian Center. And he was a real father to me spiritually, really sowed into me. He was one of those men that was always sort of in my corner and encouraging me, but he was also one of those people that sowed into me, especially about the ways of the Holy Spirit, and just really teaching me things that, you can't read in a book, and teaching me things that you can't catch from a sermon. It's in many ways, you think about what Paul wrote when he said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. Yeah. There were certain things that he had, I would say, won, certain victories that he won, that he passed on to me. And in many ways, I'm so grateful for that, because there's a relationship and there's a depth in my relationship with God that I have that is a function of the wells that he's dug.
Sure.
So I drink from the wells that he's dug. So those are my three men.
That's amazing.
And they're all in the cloud of witnesses today, and they are
looking down at you and saying, "Go, Ty, you can do this.
Amen.
No left, no right. Okay, you're doing a great job. Stay there.
Yeah, you might need a cup here.
Yeah, no, it's not always like the. There's one more message that I want to play for you, and want you to guess who it is, and and then we'll send you off.
There's a saying that goes that any man can plant a seed, but it takes a father to raise a seed. And that is true in the terms of the society that we live in today. And if you look at most families today, the family is unstructured. There is an absence of a fatherly figure, which often has to be taken up by either an uncle or a grandfather. And the role of a father is a critical one, because it helps the child to identify his or her roots from. And if I look at Ty as an example, he has two boys that he's raised in the knowledge of the things that they've learnt through the word that he follows and that he pursues. And one of the key roles that I see Ty fulfill is, number one, he is a protector. So the key thing there is actually protecting his family. Number two is a provider. He makes sure that his family and his boys are well provided. And then he is also a teacher, where he teaches his boys around the things of God, the things of life, and really the things that they need to be aware of. And all of this role as a father that he has learnt over the years has really come from his understanding of the fatherly love that he experiences from his God and his Savior. It's something that he holds quite dearly, and because he understands the nature of a father, he has the ability to be able to be able to do exactly the same thing, and be able to show love, to be able to protect, be able to guide, to provide, to impart wisdom on them. And it's not an easy thing to do in today's society, because there's so much sort of definitions that the society tries to portray of a father, and and it's also about identifying what kind of father I need to be. And if you look at Ty's example, he's really displayed the role of a biblical father, in raising his boys according to the word of God and according to how it should be done in the context of the family structure that God is raised within his word.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. That man's deep.
Yo.
Who was that?
I know. You must tell us. These are your people.
No,
who is that?
That is my eldest brother.
Come on.
Tyrone Brand. That man is he's a Mount Rushmore all on his own. No, he's
sure.
he's also somebody that's invested into me a lot through the years, especially during that rocky period.
Yeah.
And I think that I am sitting here in the grace of God today because he appealed to the Lord on my behalf, So he was the guy that was praying for me to get saved. And, I've got such a deep appreciation for my brother, and everything he said about the role of a father is bang on, and
Sure.
he's an amazing dad himself.
Okay, Mr. Jerome, ne?
Yeah, you should
Thank
have him
you
on.
so much. You come in, you better. You and your brother must talk and come here and just show us the glory of the Lord.
I think
as
he's panicking
brothers.
now.
Mr. Brand, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Musa.
joining. I mean, we didn't go deep as we had planned, but the Holy Spirit works best, and we allow Him to do just that. But we just want to appreciate you for being such
Thank
an
you.
excellent father, learning on the go, and allowing every process, every rocky, up mountain and valleys to occur because you want to learn more and more. May God bless you.
Thank you, Musa.
And uphold you in His righteous right hand
Thank
now
you,
and
Musa.
forevermore.
Thank you very much. It was very honoring. Thank you.
Awesome. Betunana, yes, that was Mr. Tyrone Brand taking us into the Father's Corner. It's always so exciting to have men in the studio because they've got this wealth and this knowledge, and getting into their hearts. It was so cool to actually also make him blush to see, how he would look like when the kids and his family just gives him love because they don't have enough of that. Tinker Jones, I see you with the beautiful message there. You are enjoying this conversation, but I want us to actually go into another interview that we have in the studio. No, actually not in the studio. We've got Keneiloe right here on Facebook Live. Not actually on Facebook Live, on our telephone. Keneiloe, how are you? Sissy, how are you? Welcome to Grace Upon Grace.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. God is so good. I'm so blessed to actually have you here, getting in touch with you. So many things are happening in the world, but it is so good to have you live with us. Namhlanje. Gospel Goes Classical essay is happening on the 8th of June. Tell us about it. You are, Jonga, I want to introduce you, but you've got this phenomenal personality. You are a songwriter, a performing and recording artist. Even did a video for the first time in South Africa in a cave. Girl, you got, I think you should actually host like a whole event where you made that video. I'm going to challenge you to do that. You also have a professional career in music and you started at the age of 17. That is so amazing with all these backgrounds and worked with so many people, Donnie McClucken, Jonathan Buckler, Vashon Mitchell, so much more. And Keneiloe, I know the journey has been with beautiful things, ups and downs, but tell us more. Take us through your music journey as Keneiloe Hope.
Yes, I started music at an early age. I remember I wasn't so sure that I wanted to do music, honestly. However, I think because it's a gift and a calling, God made sure that I follow that path. And I started at 17. I was already a backing vocalist. And I was invited to Gospel Go Classical, the very first Gospel Go Classical they hosted in 2014, to be a curtain raiser. And I attended the show. I was there, and it was beautiful. It was a great experience, just to be in the presence of big people, big names, and orchestra and all of that. It was very beautiful, and I was so honored. And the following year, I was asked to come be part of the backing vocals. I remember in 2016 they were recording with Donnie McClucken, and I was there as the soprano, and it was truly amazing. I always say I will never forget that year because during that recording, Pastor Donnie McClucken walked straight to me and handed me his microphone and said, "Please sing with me." Wow. And that was big for me. That's why I'm saying I'll never forget that night. And And that was it. And, after the show, he literally called me aside and said, I want to affirm you. You can do this. God has called you to do this. And I do not forget those words, in the ups and the downs of the journey in music. I do not forget that moment.
Sure.
And I was called in 2018 to be part of the artists who were recording with Gospel Goes Classical, where I actually recorded with Sean Michel, the porter. We did that song together, and that was it. I did Ntatekimang, one of the great songs I believe we recorded with Gospel Goes Classical. Yeah, and God just kept on showing up. God just kept on affirming and saying, this is where I want you. Keep on doing this. And I knew that, this is it. And in last year, 2023, we recorded with Pastor William McDowell. And I was asked to be the brand ambassador for the project. And truly,
come on, girl. Come on through.
God just kept on... God just kept on showing up, and it was truly amazing. And the journey has been beautiful. I do not want to lie. God has been affirming and saying, I want you here, and you are doing well here. And, with the ups and the downs, he still says, I want you to do this because this is what you're going to be doing as a purpose and serving other people.
Sure. You are a true epitome of blossom where you are planted. It is actually our tagline here on Grace Upon Grace. As you were speaking, literally, like that's the picture of so many beautiful flowers around, but you were handpicked. I mean, Gospel Goes Classic is celebrating 10 years of your this massive work. Please share with us like the history of the production, because I mean we've talked about the Sidwala Caves in Mpumalanga, also maybe just throw it in there as well. Ubana, your experience being the first artist to record a gospel live album in a cave, girl.
Yeah, we want to experience what Daniel experienced, you know. However, the first time I went there, it was so scary. I remember I was called to come see the place. However, I started falling in love with the place, you know. It kept on reminding me the song we sang when I was young, that oh Lord our God, how excellent is your name and how great thou art. You know, that we realize, okay, this was not man-made. But it still looks so perfect. It is actually perfect than the houses we build, you know. It is strong, it is safe. I remember I was so frightened and thinking, what if the drama plays so hard and these rocks fall on us? That we didn't experience that. Instead, it was one of the most beautiful experience. And I believe that people who came as well were just so amazed by a beautiful project that we could pull out, you know, in that space, in that room. And it was incredibly amazing. Honestly, it was truly beautiful. We want to do it again.
We want an event again. I'm challenging you. I want a whole event there on that cave.
Definitely.
It must happen.
Have to go. Yes.
And the celebration of this 10 years. Take us through the production of Gospel Goes Classic, man. So many years. Grace upon grace, literally, because it's 10 years.
It's 10 years. We just saying, Ebenezer, we thank you, you know, that a lot has happened, you know, you remember there was COVID, we couldn't really work, and we had so many plans. However, we were so disturbed and discouraged and all of that, but God has been so good that, you know, like I just mentioned, you know, 2014, we had a show and there was a recording, so, you know, we had expectations and wanted it to be bigger than that. However, COVID happened and there was just a disturbance, and you know, all of that, we lost family members and all of that. However, by God's grace, we were able to come back, you know, and we realized that, oh God, we came back and we are just here in 10 years, you know, we just want to celebrate this and also encourage other people who dream to be in the space that we are at, that it's possible, you can do it. By God's grace, you can do it. It doesn't matter what you're facing. It doesn't matter what you feel like today. It doesn't take away the value that God has on you. You can do it. So we are celebrating the 10 years, and we are so excited that we have, you know, in the journey we've met great people, and in the journey we've learned so much, and you know, so we are celebrating it, and we believe that people would love to be a part of this celebration and join us.
Yes, no, definitely. Of course, we would love to celebrate that. And it is happening this coming Saturday in Cape Town. Tell us more. Details. Gospel goes classical. Betunana is coming to Cape Town. And Keneiloe, take us straight there. We want to know. People want to buy their tickets. Where can they get all of this? Give us info, girl.
Okay, sorry. The tickets are available at CompuTicket. They are selling from 350 rand. So you can purchase online, you can go to ShopRite, you can go anywhere there's a CompuTicket, so you can get your ticket for the show starting at 6 o'clock. The doors are open from 5 o'clock, and then the show will definitely start at 6. We wanted to start at 6, and it's going to be incredibly beautiful. You know, I was telling somebody that this show is one of those experiences you don't want to miss out on.
Of course.
It's not just you know, your usual type of, you know, singing, but we have this beautiful orchestra, you know, the beautiful sounds of symphonies just combined with our traditional gospel music. It becomes this beautiful harmonies and, you know, heavenly sounds that people do not want to miss out on. You know, classical sounds with your tomoi dancing, with, you know, whatever that you always do to celebrate God. It doesn't limit us, but it just enhances. The orchestra enhances the sound, and it becomes so beautiful and magical. So it's you have to be there.
You know how we love our South African artists. Throw in names there. Throw in names. Who else is coming? Because people are so excited. Like, who's coming? So throw in names there. We know you're going to be there.
I'm there. Keneiloe Hope is there. And we have Dr. Timothy Mieni. We have Colin Mwango. We have Lusanda Beja, Takindo, Pastor Colin Maluleke. And we have the locals from Cape Town, you know, and one of the ladies who won the competition, Gospel Classical Rising Star, so Pumelele, she's going to be one of the singers on the evening. So people don't want to miss this. It's going to be beautiful and heavenly. I am sure of that. God has something in store for everybody that's going to be there on that night.
That's how we say it here in Cape Town. Ons kan nie wag nie. We cannot wait to enjoy that. Keneiloe, thank you so much for, you know, your story. Thank you so much for giving the details to us, because I'm sure right now people are going to any CompuTicket and, you know, purchasing their ticket. It is only 350 and the event starts at 6 p.m. Please be there at 5 p.m. so that you can, you know, nice seating and everything.
Yes.
Once again, where is it? The venue?
It's the Grand Arena.
Okay, guys. As Yawa Grand Arena, you can be there from lunch, actually. There's lots of restaurants, so enjoy your time at Grand Arena.
Course.
Yeah. And, you know, you can see Keneiloe coming in there, making sure vibe before the show and after the show. So thank you so much for, you know, giving the details to us. We will definitely see you on Saturday. I cannot wait.
I'm so excited. I am so excited. I'm looking forward to the evening, and thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Sissy. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much. Bye.
And that is it. That was Keneiloe Hope Betunana giving us details on what is happening this coming Saturday. It's so exciting. It is so exciting. So if you're a gospel fanatic, go out there and purchase your ticket. It is only 350 at Grand West. Grand West. It's there. That's the one. So yeah, and we've come to the end of the show. It went super quick. Listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for, you know, always tuning in on Grace Upon Grace. Just not that Grace Upon Grace. Like, to the whole entire team, Yakwa 7 to 9, we truly appreciate you guys so much. Remember, wherever you are, God has made you an imperishable seed, so you have to blossom where He has planted you. Up until next time, my name is Musa Jakuja. Thank you.